As a high school student in Rockford, Illinois, a summer job with Barber Coleman sparked Ken Kruder's interest in the controls field. Soon after graduating from Purdue University with a degree in electrical engineering, Ken partnered with a group of engineers to create Merco Controls in 1955, which was eventually acquired by Robert Shaw. Ken spent the next decade heading up Robert Shaw's Midwest Development Center before his aspirations and visionary thinking led him to found his own company, Kruder Manufacturing, in 1969. The fledgling company began operating from a 3-car garage on a farm in Manitoba, Canada, which Ken had purchased not only as a home for his business, but to help support his growing family while the enterprise got off the ground. Ken did his own design and tooling work and recruited family members to help out in the shop. That started KMC's vertical integration.
In the late 60s, he started collecting machinery, had a garage full, lathe, milling machine, all that kind of stuff. I'd do about anything to make a few extra bucks and go out and clean machines or sweep the floor or whatever.
One summer I ran the punch press.
Soon after the Kruders moved to Manitoba, a curious young man entered the picture who would soon become family and an important part of the family business.
Let's see, I was riding around on my motorcycle one night and pulled into a Dairy Queen, and Chris was there. Chris and I became friends, and one day he took me home, and he had this great-looking sister, Ann. So I just started kind of sneaking over there once in a while to meet Ann, and became familiar with Ken Kruder. One thing led to another, and it just kind of started from there.
Beginning with logic relays and a 5-year OEM agreement with Robert Shaw, Kruder Manufacturing was on its way. Pneumatic controls were the foundation of the company's products then. In 1974, Kruder Manufacturing relocated to Thief River Falls, Minnesota. At the same time, the KMC product line was expanded to include variable air volume controllers and actuators.
My dad did a lot, whenever he traveled from Manitoba down to the States, he would drive through a town called Thief River Falls, and he'd stop there for lunch or whatever, and started liking the place.
The reason we wound up in Thief River Falls was when you got on Highway 59 and headed south out of Winnipeg, that was the first town of any size that you came to. And we found a small building there to buy and moved a couple of molding machines that we had at the time down there.
Back on U.S. soil, Kruder Manufacturing continued to expand its horizons while keeping the business a family affair.
Really, in the beginning, it was everybody did everything. We ran the molding machines and whatever products we had, we all sat out there on the benches and put them together ourselves. And my mother-in-law, my wife with our 6-month-old baby sitting on the assembly counter and whatnot. It was interesting times because they just kind of went wherever the need was. So.
Eventually, the company moved manufacturing operations to New Paris, Indiana, under the direction of Ken's former Robert Shaw colleague and chief engineer, Klaus Mueller. Ken remained in Minnesota to grow the engineering and sales portions of the business. Under Klaus's supervision, the company expanded manufacturing operations to over 100,000 square feet in the next 23 years.
Dad had gained some experience at higher volume production, and that was something that Ken did not particularly want to get involved in. He loved his engineering, and that's where Dad came in. They came to an agreement where Dad would run manufacturing and Ken would continue to do the engineering.
Along with the rapid expansion of the manufacturing operations, Klaus created a very personal atmosphere among all KMC employees that remains today.
He was the kind of man that would not be hiding out in his office. If he'd gone to a customer site, got good news, you would find him the next couple days walking around the plant floor. He knew every single individual here by first name. Dad was always a people-oriented person that still shows through today. The kind of family atmosphere that we have here at KMC is largely due to my dad's values.
KMC's constant growth in the 1980s was driven by a steady stream of innovative new products supported by an ever-growing group of dedicated employees and familiar family faces.
One of the first things, I guess, after I got out of college that we started to get into were the first analog electronic controls. We came up with an electronic VAV controller and electronic thermostat and a number of different relays to do the same function that we had been doing pneumatically.
Probably back in the early 90s, we started making some of our own digital controllers.
In the 1990s, KMC began to acquire the key design and production personnel necessary to meet developmental and quality control standards required of top OEM suppliers, as well as gaining ISO certification. The late 90s were a time of great change. Under Wayne Kaler's direction as company president and CEO, the company began marketing products internationally through temperature controls wholesalers and a network of authorized installing contractors. These additional distribution channels helped KMC better focus on the needs of users and business partners and brought about a new era of growth and expansion. In 1997, KMC Controls earned ISO 9002 certification. This allowed for an immense development effort to create a complete line of direct digital control devices. However, KMC remains committed to providing a complete line of analog, electronic, and pneumatic controls. As part of a company-wide reorganization, further resources have been added to ensure that KMC can meet the demands of the future.
We've hired the software engineers probably starting in 2000 to write our own front-end software.
One of my dad's philosophies that I think is responsible for the company getting to where it is that he always believed in doing as much in-house as possible, not outsourcing things.
The Kruder family continues to provide KMC with seasoned leadership and a deep well of experience. Wayne Kaler, Paul Kruder, and Chris Kruder all serve on the board of directors. The Mueller legacy continues at KMC as well through two of Klaus's sons. Jorg Mueller is Vice President of Manufacturing, and Klaus D. Mueller is Production Scheduler. Meanwhile, the third generation has come on board to build on the family tradition of hard work and innovation.
I love it. We all love it. The people we work with, our customers, all real good people. And it's just fun to go to work in that kind of an atmosphere. For the future, that's just going to continue with our kids being in the business, and the family is still going to be there.
Ken Kruder passed away in 1995, and his friend and partner Klaus Mueller followed in 2006, leaving behind an enduring legacy of innovation and success. This legacy, combined with a solid financial foundation and an experienced staff, has KMC well positioned for future growth. There are many chapters of the KMC story that remain to be written.
I hope that we can continue to be innovative and we're able to hang on to the great quality employee base that we've got now and build on it. We just want to continue to keep it small enough that we don't lose that interaction between all of the customers and the employees, and everybody really still knows everybody. That's still, I think, an embedded desire that everybody in the company has.